The scalpel slipped from my trembling hand, clattering against the sterile tray like a gunshot in the quiet recovery room. "Theo, it's not what you think," Victor whispered, his voice cracking as blood seeped from the patient's bandaged wrist. But his eyes, those damn hazel eyes I'd drowned in for 2 years, darted away, guilty as sin. In that frozen heartbeat, I realized the man I'd loved had been carving secrets into lives long before he ever touched mine. "My name's Theo Harlan, and back in the fall of 2023, when the Pacific Northwest rains turned Seattle into a watercolor of grays, I signed up to volunteer at Harborview Medical Center because I needed something, anything, to fill the void my parents' divorce had ripped open. At 24, fresh out of community college with a half-baked dream of becoming a paramedic, I figured pushing wheelchairs and fetching Jell-O cups would be a noble distraction. Little did I know it would drag me into a web of lies that nearly cost me everything, including the heart I'd foolishly handed over to Victor Reyes. It started innocently enough. I'd wheel patients down to the atrium for fresh air, listen to their stories. War vets from Nam muttering about ghosts, single moms fighting cancer with a ferocity that made my own petty heartaches feel small. Victor was the third-year resident in emergency medicine, all sharp jawline and quiet intensity, the kind of guy who could stitch a laceration while quoting Maya Angelou. We met on my second shift, when I accidentally knocked over his coffee in the break room. "Easy there, cowboy," he'd said with that crooked smile, handing me a napkin. "You aiming to take me out before I even get a chance?" By week 3, we were stealing kisses in the supply closet, his hands warm on my waist, whispering promises about road trips down the Oregon coast once his rotation ended. He was out, unapologetically so. Raised by Mexican-American parents in Tacoma who flew rainbow flags at Pride but still grilled him about grandkids. I wasn't as brave. My conservative upbringing in Spokane had me burying my queerness under flannel shirts and football stats. Victor made me want to come up for air. But the hospital had its shadows. Rumors swirled in the volunteer lounge about unexplained overdoses in the psych ward. Patients on suicide watch spiking fevers, slipping into comas that no one could explain. "It's the fentanyl crisis," the nurses shrugged, but I saw the doubt in their eyes. One night, while restocking linens, I overheard Dr. Ellis, Victor's mentor, barking into his phone. "We can't afford another incident. Cover it up." My stomach twisted. Cover what up? Curiosity gnawed at me like the autumn chill seeping through the hospital's double panes. During slow afternoons, I'd linger in the records room, flipping through charts under the guise of organizing files. That's when I noticed the pattern. A cluster of young men, all in their 20s, admitted for accidental overdoses. Their talk screens showed traces of something exotic, belladonna. Maybe? No, wait, digitalis, the stuff from foxglove plants that could mimic a heart attack. And every one of them had been seen by Victor's team. I confronted him that rainy Tuesday, after his shift. We were in his cramped apartment off Capitol Hill, the kind with exposed brick and posters of Frida Kahlo staring down from the walls. Rain hammered the skylight as I spread the printouts on his kitchen table. "Vic, these guys, they're all gay, all from the clubs downtown. And look at the timestamps. You signed off on their discharges hours before they coded." He froze, fork midway to his mouth, some takeout pad thai forgotten. "Theo, babe, it's coincidence. Overdoses happen. We're understaffed." I rubber stamp what Ellis tells me. But his laugh was forced, and when he reached for my hand, I pulled away. That night we made love anyway, fierce, desperate, like we could sweat out the doubt. But doubt doesn't sweat. It festers. The next week brought the first real crack. I was pushing Mrs. Kowalski, an elderly Polish lady with dementia, back from physical therapy when she grabbed my arm, her grip surprisingly iron. "The devil's in the pills," she hissed, eyes wild. "White coats with black hearts." I chalked it up to her meds, but later, rifling through her chart for the nurses, I found a notation. Patient reports visions of poison chalices from staff. Chalices? Like communion wine? My mind raced back to the tox reports, digitalis and old-school poison, the kind whispered about in Sunday school tales of betrayal. I needed proof. Borrowing a friend's laptop, I hacked together a search, nothing fancy, just public records and Reddit threads from Seattle's queer underbelly. Turns out, those overdosed guys? They weren't random. They'd all posted in a forum about miracle cures, from an underground clinic promising to cure homosexuality. Conversion therapy, black market style. peddled by disgraced docs who'd lost their licenses. And the cure? A cocktail of hallucinogens and cardiac toxins to induce near-death visions, supposedly purging the sin. Lives ruined, families bilked of thousands. My blood ran cold. Harborview wasn't just treating the fallout. It was the cleanup crew. And Victor? His name popped up in an anonymous tip. Dr. Reyes knows. He's in deep. Betrayal hit like a freight train. We'd planned a weekend getaway to the San Juans, talking adoptions and white picket fences in some liberal suburb. Now every brush of his fingers felt like a lie. I played it cool, though, smiled through shifts, laughed at his jokes in the cafeteria. Inside, I was unraveling, torn between love and the gnawing fear that the man who'd held me through my coming-out panic was complicit in something monstrous. The climax crashed down on a stormy Friday in November. I'd tailed Victor after his shift, heart pounding as he slipped into the hospital's sub-basement, a warren of storage and old labs I'd never ventured into. Flashlight app on my phone, I followed the drip of leaky pipes, the air thick with mildew and regret. There, in a flickering bulb's glow, I saw it. Crates of unmarked vials, digitalis extract distilled from scavenged plants. Ellis was there, haggling with a hooded figure. Some clinic runner, voice muffled but accent pure Pacific Northwest drawl. And Victor? He stood in the corner, arms crossed, nodding like it was just another consult. We keep the bodies coming. The feds stay off our backs, Ellis said. These accidents buy us time for the real work. The real work. Laundering money through fake charities, all while dooming kids desperate for acceptance. I must have shifted because Victor's head snapped up. Who's there? Panic surged. I bolted, feet slapping wet concrete, bursting into the ER bay where thunder rattled the windows. Alarms wailed. False labor, maybe? But in the chaos, Victor cornered me against a crash cart. Theo, what the hell? You following me now? Tell me it's not true, I gasped, shoving the phone with its damning screenshots into his chest. Rain lashed the ambulance bay doors behind us, mirroring the storm in my chest. You're letting them die. For what? Your career? Our future? His face crumpled, that beautiful mask shattering. It's not like that. Ellis, he's got dirt on me. From med school, a forged transcript. If I bail, I'm done. Ruined. And you? God. Theo, I was trying to protect us. Lies, all of it, but laced with truth. The fear in his eyes was real. The same vulnerability that had drawn me to him under string lights at our first date in Pike Place. We argued in whispers as gurneys rolled past, patients moaning, monitors beeping like accusatory heartbeats. I love you, he pleaded, grabbing my shirt. This ends tonight, I swear. But doubt was a poison too, slow and insidious. I wrenched free, storming to the volunteer coordinator's office, spilling everything in a tear-streaked confession. By dawn, cops swarmed the basement, seizing vials, cuffing Ellis mid-denial. Victor? He turned state's evidence, trading his silence for immunity. But not before the headlines screamed, hospital hero or henchman, gay patients targeted in poison plot. The fallout was biblical. The clinic ring crumbled. 6 arrests, including a state senator bankrolling the cures. Families of the victims sued Harborview into bankruptcy proceedings, forcing reforms. Mandatory psych evals for all admits. Zero tolerance for quack referrals. Lives saved? At least a dozen potentials, per the DA's report, kids who'd posted in that forum but chickened out after the bust. As for Victor and me, the betrayal carved deeper than any scalpel. He vanished after the plea deal, resurfacing months later in a Portland clinic. Anonymous emails begging forgiveness. I chose wrong once, he wrote. Don't make me choose alone. I wanted to hate him, to burn the letters in a Capitol Hill bonfire. But love's a stubborn weed, thriving in cracked concrete. In the end, I stayed in Seattle, finished my paramedic cert at a community college night class, and started a support group for queer youth eyeing the city's underbelly. No white pickets yet, just me, a rescue dog named Scout, and the knowledge that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the map to mercy. Last spring, under cherry blossoms in Volunteer Park, I ran into Victor at a pride rally. He looked older, wearier, a rainbow pin on his lanyard like a fragile truce. Theo, he said, voice thick. We talked. Awkward at first, then raw, tears mixing with laughter over shared stupidities. No grand reunion, no Hollywood fade to credits. But as the parade drums echoed, our fingers brushed, and for the first time in years, I didn't pull away. Betrayal breaks you open, sure, but sometimes that's where the light gets in. In America, land of second chances and hard rains, we rebuild. One hesitant step at a time.